And I see people making uncanny comparisons with Paul Kagame, my good friend Ibrahim Traore. And I say, some of these folks are operating in a slightly different environment, where their word is obeyed instantly, without question. It's a different environment. You say, this guy is not doing things. Traore is doing them. Traore wakes up, dreams them up. Following morning, he makes a pronouncement. It is law. It is policy. Action follows. And I wake up and I say stuff, they look at me and say, what is this man talking about? We need to take it through this stage and that stage and put it to tender, float the tender. It takes 2 years, then we evaluate, then there are complaints, and there's an interdict. We wait another 4 years. By that time, you have to go and account to the people, and they remove you. Those who came before me did not fail because they didn't have ideas. They did. Maybe even better ideas. They just didn't implement them. Why? Because perhaps they failed to appreciate that the structures that are in place are not properly suited to the attainment of quick action. So you need to subvert some of these rules and processes unapologetically. And I will do it.
From this shocking and unexpected speech, it is clear now that Botswana's newly elected president, Duma Boko, has ignited a firestorm with a speech that challenges the sacred cow of democracy itself. Speaking with unapologetic candor, Boko has joined Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore, in declaring that democracy, far from being Africa's salvation, is a shackle delaying progress. His words, delivered with the conviction of a man who has seen the system's underbelly, have stunned observers, sparked fierce debate, and raised a critical question. Is Africa's obsession with Western-style democracy a trap set by neocolonial powers to keep the continent subdued? As a Pan-Africanist journalist, I assert that Boko's comments, inspired by Traore's unyielding revolutionary vision, mark a turning point. A clarion call for African leaders to break free from the chains of a system that has enriched puppets while impoverishing the masses. Boko's remarks come hot on the heels of equally incendiary comments from Captain Ibrahim Traore, the 36-year-old revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, who has become a symbol of defiance against Western hegemony in Africa. Just weeks ago, Traore addressed his people in a televised speech, unequivocally rejecting democracy as a pathway to development. "We are not in a democracy, we are in a revolution," Traore proclaimed. "If we have to say it loud and clear here, we are not in a democracy, we are in a popular progressive revolution." Everyone needs to understand this. It's even more surprising that those who are supposed to be intellectuals, who have been to school, can imagine that a country can develop in democracy. That's false. It's not possible to name a single country that has developed in democracy. Democracy is only the end result. We must necessarily go through a revolution, and we are indeed in a revolution. Traore's words, delivered with the fiery conviction of a man who has expelled French troops from his soil and nationalized key industries, have struck a chord with a generation of Africans weary of Western-backed puppet regimes and the hollow promises of liberal democracy. His assertion that democracy leads to a society of disorder, and his insistence that Burkina Faso is on a revolutionary path, have found an unexpected ally in Duma Boko, whose own critique of democracy's delays has raised eyebrows and sparked intense speculation. Has Traore's unapologetic stance opened Boko's eyes to the limitations of the system he once championed? Or is Boko, a seasoned lawyer and opposition leader, simply articulating a truth that has long simmered beneath the surface of African political discourse? To understand the gravity of Boko's and Traore's positions, we must first confront the uncomfortable reality of democracy in Africa. A system often lauded as the pinnacle of governance, but which, in practice, has served as a Trojan horse for Western interests. Since the wave of independence movements in the 1960s, African nations have been coerced into adopting democratic frameworks modelled on Western liberal ideals, often under the guise of good governance. Yet, these systems have consistently failed to deliver the prosperity and sovereignty promised. Instead, they have entrenched a cycle of dependency, corruption, and underdevelopment, with African leaders beholden to foreign powers and multinational corporations. The democratic process, with its endless checks and balances, tenders, and consultations, has become a straitjacket for African progress. In countries like Botswana, hailed as a democratic success story, the reality is far more complex. Despite its relative stability and diamond wealth, Botswana grapples with high unemployment, stark inequality, and an over-reliance on a single commodity, diamonds, controlled by multinational giant De Beers. The bureaucratic red tape that Boko so vividly described ensures that transformative policies are bogged down in years of deliberation, leaving citizens frustrated and leaders powerless to enact meaningful change. This is no accident. The West, through institutions like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, World Bank, and various NGOs, has weaponized democracy to maintain control over Africa's resources and political direction. By promoting a one-size-fits-all model of governance, they ensure that African leaders remain entangled in processes that prioritize foreign interests over national development. Elections, often manipulated through funding and media influence, serve as a mechanism to install compliant leaders, puppets who parrot democratic rhetoric while siphoning wealth to Western capitals. The result is a continent rich in resources but poor in outcomes, where the democratic facade masks a neocolonial reality. Consider the case of Nigeria, where democratic elections have produced leaders who oversee rampant corruption and economic stagnation, while multinational oil companies plunder the Niger Delta. Or Kenya, where electoral politics have fueled ethnic divisions and entrenched a political elite that serves foreign interests over the common good. In these and countless other examples, democracy has not been a tool for liberation, but a chain that binds Africa to its exploiters. The West's insistence on democracy as the only legitimate form of governance is not about empowering Africans, but about ensuring that the continent remains a pliable playground for global capitalism. In contrast, leaders like Paul Kagame of Rwanda and Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso have demonstrated that decisive, revolutionary governance can yield tangible results, even in the face of Western criticism. Kagame, often labelled an authoritarian by Western media, has transformed Rwanda from a post-genocide wasteland into one of Africa's most dynamic economies. Since taking power in 2000, Kagame has overseen annual GDP growth averaging 7 to 8%, reduced poverty rates from 57% in 2005 to 38% in 2017, and positioned Rwanda as a hub for technology and innovation. His government's investments in healthcare, education, and infrastructure, such as the Kigali Innovation City, have made Rwanda a model of development, all while maintaining strict control over political dissent. Kagame's approach, which prioritizes action over endless debate, has allowed Rwanda to bypass the bureaucratic inertia that Boko laments. By centralizing power and streamlining decision-making, Kagame has implemented policies with remarkable speed, from universal healthcare coverage to ambitious renewable energy projects. While critics decry his suppression of opposition, Kagame argues that stability and progress require a strong hand, especially in a region scarred by conflict and foreign interference. For many Africans, Rwanda's clean streets, efficient governance, and economic vibrancy stand in stark contrast to the chaos of democratic experiments elsewhere. Similarly, Ibrahim Traore has emerged as a revolutionary icon, galvanizing Burkina Faso and inspiring a continent-wide movement for sovereignty. Since seizing power in a 2022 coup, Traore has taken bold steps to reclaim Burkina Faso's destiny. He expelled French troops, ended a decades-long military accord with France, and moved to nationalize key industries, including gold mining. His government has prioritized self-reliance, investing in agriculture and local manufacturing to reduce dependency on foreign aid. Traore's vision, rooted in the Pan-Africanist legacy of Thomas Sankara, rejects the Western democratic model as a tool of neocolonial control. "He who feeds you controls you," Sankara famously said, a maxim Traore has taken to heart. Under Traore's leadership, Burkina Faso is undergoing a radical transformation, despite ongoing security challenges from jihadist insurgencies. His ability to mobilize popular support, evidenced by thousands rallying in Ouagadougou after a foiled coup attempt in April 2025, underscores the resonance of his revolutionary message. Traore's insistence that democracy is only the end result and that a revolution is necessary for development has struck a nerve, particularly among Africa's youth, who see in him a leader unafraid to confront the West and its proxies. Duma Boko's recent comments suggest that he is awakening to the same truths that have fueled Kagame's and Traore's success. By acknowledging the limitations of democracy and expressing admiration for Traore's decisive leadership, Boko is positioning himself as a potential revolutionary in a country long tethered to Western democratic ideals. His pledge to subvert bureaucratic processes and prioritize action over endless tenders signals a willingness to challenge the status quo, even if it means courting controversy. Botswana, with its vast diamond reserves and stable institutions, is uniquely positioned to undergo a revolutionary transformation under Boko's leadership. However, the challenges are immense. The country's economy remains heavily dependent on diamonds, which account for over 80% of foreign exports, and the influence of De Beers looms large. Unemployment, particularly among youth, is rampant, and inequality ranks among the highest globally. Corruption, long a concern under the Botswana Democratic Party, BDP, has eroded public trust, with 80% of adults believing it permeates the highest levels of government. Boko's campaign promises, doubling the minimum wage, expanding social benefits, and creating jobs, require swift, decisive action that the current democratic framework may not accommodate. His recognition that those who came before me did not fail because they didn't have ideas, but because of structural constraints suggests a deep understanding of the systemic barriers to progress. By drawing inspiration from Traore's revolutionary approach, Boko could bypass these barriers, streamlining governance to deliver results for Botswana's 2.5 million citizens. For instance, Boko's proposal to legalize undocumented Zimbabweans and leverage their skills in industries like welding and plumbing reflects a pragmatic, action-oriented mindset. Similarly, his interest in diversifying the economy through cannabis and solar power indicates a willingness to think outside the diamond-dependent box. By adopting Traore's model of rapid policy implementation, Boko could transform Botswana into a hub for innovation and self-reliance, reducing its reliance on Western markets and institutions. Boko's alignment with Traore's revolutionary rhetoric has profound implications for Africa as a whole. Across the continent, a new generation of leaders and citizens is questioning the efficacy of democracy in a context of neocolonial exploitation. From Mali to Niger to Guinea, military-led governments are rejecting Western influence and embracing sovereignty, inspired by figures like Traore. Boko, as the leader of a democratic state, occupies a unique position. He has the opportunity to bridge the gap between revolutionary ideals and democratic institutions, proving that rapid transformative change is possible within a legal framework. This is not to say that Boko's path will be easy. His vow to relish the fire from politicians suggests he anticipates resistance from entrenched elites and foreign interests. The West, which has long viewed Botswana as a compliant ally, may push back against any moves to assert greater sovereignty. The United States, for example, recently praised its close strategic partnership with Botswana, particularly in trade and security. Reports of Boko's alleged plan to shut down US military bases, though unconfirmed, have already sparked debate about his intentions. Moreover, Boko must navigate the expectations of a populace accustomed to democratic norms. Botswana's smooth transfer of power in 2024 was hailed as a testament to its democratic maturity, and Boko himself has celebrated this legacy. balancing revolutionary action with democratic accountability will require political dexterity, especially in a country where independent institutions, though weakened under the BDP, remain a source of national pride. Yet, the potential rewards are immense. If Boko can harness Traore's revolutionary spirit while leveraging Botswana's stability and resources, he could redefine what governance means in Africa. By prioritizing outcomes over processes, he could deliver the jobs, infrastructure, and economic diversification that Botswanans crave, setting a precedent for other nations to follow. His legal expertise, which he emphasized in his speech, could be a key asset in navigating the complexities of governance while pushing boundaries. Boko's and Traore's critiques of democracy expose a deeper truth. Many African leaders have used the democratic label to mask their complicity in neocolonial exploitation. From Ghana's Nana Akufo-Addo, who presides over a debt-ridden economy beholden to IMF bailouts, to South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, whose government has failed to address land reform or curb corporate monopolies, democratic leaders often serve as gatekeepers for Western interests. These puppets, installed through elections bankrolled by foreign donors, maintain the illusion of self-governance while ensuring that Africa's wealth flows outward. The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, offers a stark example. Despite its vast mineral wealth, including 70% of the world's cobalt, the DRC remains one of the poorest nations on Earth, with democratic elections producing leaders who prioritize foreign mining companies over their citizens. Similarly, in Zambia, democratic governments have overseen the privatization of copper mines, enriching Western corporations while leaving communities destitute. These are not anomalies, but the inevitable outcomes of a system designed to perpetuate dependency. In contrast, leaders like Kagame and Traore have exposed the hypocrisy of this model. Kagame's refusal to bow to Western pressure, evidenced by Rwanda's independent foreign policy and rejection of aid conditionality, has earned him both admiration and vilification. Traore's expulsion of French troops and his push for economic self-reliance have made him a folk hero, despite Western attempts to paint him as a destabilizing force. These leaders understand that true sovereignty requires breaking free from the democratic trap and embracing a governance model that prioritizes the people over foreign interests. Duma Boko's recent speech is more than a critique of democracy. It is a call to action for a continent at a crossroads. By aligning himself with Ibrahim Traore's revolutionary vision, Boko is challenging African leaders to rethink the systems that have held them back. His promise to act decisively, even within the law, suggests a hybrid approach that could resonate beyond Botswana, offering a blueprint for governance that combines revolutionary zeal with institutional stability. For too long, Africa has been told that democracy is the only path to progress, even as the West exploits its resources and installs compliant regimes. Boko's and Traore's words are a reminder that development requires courage, vision, and a willingness to defy conventional wisdom. As Traore put it, we must necessarily go through a revolution. Boko, by echoing this sentiment, is signaling his intent to lead Botswana and perhaps Africa into a new era of self-determination. The road ahead will be fraught with challenges. Boko must contend with a global system that punishes African nations for asserting their sovereignty, as well as domestic forces resistant to change. Yet, his resolve to relish the fire and his admiration for Traore's decisive leadership suggest he is prepared for the fight. If he succeeds, Botswana could become a beacon of revolutionary governance, proving that Africa can chart its own path to prosperity. As Pan-Africanists, we must rally behind leaders like Boko and Traore who dare to dream of a liberated Africa. Their words are a wake-up call, urging us to reject the democratic mirage and embrace the revolutionary fire that burns within our collective spirit. The time for hesitation is over. The time for action is now. Let us stand with Duma Boko as he seeks to revolutionize Botswana, and let us join Ibrahim Traore in building an Africa that is truly free, sovereign, and prosperous. As I conclude, brothers and sisters, Duma Boko's audacious critique of democracy, inspired by Captain Ibrahim Traore's revolutionary fervour, marks a pivotal moment in Africa's quest for true sovereignty and development. By declaring that democracy's bureaucratic quagmire stifles progress, Boko has shattered Botswana's image as Africa's democratic darling and exposed a deeper truth. The Western-imposed system has been a tool of neocolonial control, empowering puppets while impoverishing the masses. His vow to subvert these constraints within the law, coupled with his admiration for Traore's swift action and Kagame's results-driven governance, signals a bold vision to revolutionize Botswana. This is not a rejection of governance, but a redefinition of it, one that prioritizes the people over processes, action over rhetoric, and African solutions over Western dogma. The implications of Boko's stance reverberate far beyond Botswana. Across Africa, democracy has failed to deliver on its promises. From Nigeria's oil-soaked corruption to South Africa's persistent inequality, the continent's democratic experiments have enriched elites and foreign corporations while leaving millions in poverty. Leaders like Traore and Kagame, who have dared to defy this model, offer a compelling alternative: centralized vision, decisive action, and unapologetic sovereignty. Traore's Burkina Faso, with its focus on nationalized resources and local empowerment, and Kagame's Rwanda, with its remarkable economic and social progress, prove that development need not wait for endless debates or foreign approval. Boko, by embracing this revolutionary ethos, positions Botswana as a potential leader in Africa's awakening, a nation that could show the world what African governance, rooted in African realities, can achieve. For Pan-Africanists, Boko's emergence is a clarion call to rally behind leaders who reject the democracy deception and embrace a revolutionary model that places Africa's dignity and progress first. As Botswana stands at this crossroads, so does the continent. The time for mimicking Western systems is over. Africa's future lies in the courage of leaders like Boko, Traore, and Kagame, who dare to dream of a liberated, prosperous continent and act to make it a reality. Let us, as Africans, support this revolution, not with blind faith, but with vigilant solidarity, ensuring that the people's aspirations guide every step. The dawn of a new Africa is here, and it begins with the rejection of chains disguised as freedom.